Welcome back to another edition of Tea and Toys. This time we're going to discuss Broadside, the most inconsistent Transformer when it comes to scaling. Now, by default we have to look at the original animation show and the size charts, and a small section of the size charts, to see what we want from our next Broadside figure and toy. Like you can see, he turns into a plane, kind of an F-15 looking jet there. Obviously it's much bigger in the show. And an aircraft carrier. Now, in a complete hypocritical manner, I'm happy to accept Soundwave turns into a teeny tiny cassette and turns into a giant robot. Same with Reflector, there's 3 of them, depending on your version of Reflector you have in your head. The cassettes, Decepti, to name but a few of those characters. But when it comes to Broadside, because of the alt mode being an aircraft carrier, it just seems that little bit more unbelievable. Yes, I'm saying that from a show where you get giant alien robots turning into cars and stuff. I get it. It doesn't make sense that I'm questioning why Broadside would be able to do this. But when it comes to toys, let's have a look at the toys. The original trio here, they look fine all together like that in robot mode. And then you get the alt modes, helicopter, jet, okay, yeah, alright. And then you get beach buggy, space car, aircraft carrier. All the same size in toys. Now, I get it, they're toys. But when it comes to Broadside, I do find it difficult to think, well, what can they do with him? Like, he has to remain a boat of some sort, but he can't be a canoe. What would the point in that be? That would just be daft. It's not Family Guy after all. And then, is he a frigate? But again, a frigate is still big. And I know, like, when it comes to scale, we shouldn't be so attached to it when it comes to sort of Transformers in the alt modes. Like when it comes to the robot modes, I think it should be more consistent, because that's how 99% of the collectors have their Transformers on the shelf, is in robot mode, not in vehicle mode. Because you have multiple versions, then you probably have all versions on the shelf. I get it, that's fine. But most people I've seen collections, they're in robot mode. So I'm thinking, right, Broadside definitely has to be bigger, like he is in the original size chart here. Okay, this isn't 100% accurate. I don't actually think this is right, given like the research the guy that did this put it together. I just don't think it's right in my personal opinion. And then we've got the Takara, outright all the same size as per the original toys. So that's probably deliberate from them when they did this Headmasters series. They just looked at the toys and go, well, that's how big they are. Done. And then we get the Springer Generations Sandstorm with the Titans Return. Broadside, one of the most, had an awful jet mode. God, it looked awful. What were they even trying? And he does come with like mini aerobots, so you can use the play feature they've taken off from the aircraft carrier. But then he turns to robot mode and he's the same size as everybody else. So I'm thinking, do we go for a Commander Plus for Broadside, or full new scale, new versions of the Titan class, which same price but they're now a lot smaller? So what do people want from him? I actually would like to have the play gimmick where I can have the aerobots on top of the aircraft carrier, but as you know from other videos, I have gotten rid of all of my Titan figures except Omega Supreme, who probably is, looking at him now, he's probably too big next to the combiners, but that's by the by. So I kind of do want a Broadside where I can put, yes, all 5 aerobots on him. It doesn't have to be like it's depicted here, but just so they can fit on him and you can use the takeoff feature. Or will it be a case of we get Broadside as a Commander Plus or a New Age Titan, and maybe the booster rocket for Silverbolt can clip on him to make the aircraft ramp longer. Like, there may be more features with that booster that we haven't seen yet that may be for future figures. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But when it comes to Broadside, you can see here, I can't just see mine again, an episode we should never use as a reference, with his Decepticon logo on there as well. So it's even going wrong when they did that. But he's clearly the same. He's clearly much bigger than Devastator. Crushes him in that scene, and then straight after he transforms into this. So this is literally page. I've not made this image bigger. That is how big Broadside is when he transforms after flattening Devastator there. And then a clip later is you got Ultra Magnus, which is about half the size of Broadside. But again, in the same episode, Ultra Magnus is using Constructicons as like puppets at one point. You know, just smashes them together. So the inconsistency in the episode alone are questionable. Like, and also, which face do we want? I haven't even covered that. Which face do we want? Do we want the grill face, which is from the old toy, and the animation, and the Japanese animation, and the newer toy? Or do we go for the secondary animation face on Broadside, which is that one there? Or do we have both? Both, so you can sort of flip it around and do what you want. I think that would be a nice feature to do. I personally prefer this one. Only because, it's probably because it was on the toy. And I wanted to have blue eyes, not red like on the toy. So if we watch out for Hasbro doing that, then they'd probably do some fancy Takara release, it would look much better. So yeah, it's a question. Like, what do we want from Broadside? What do you want from Broadside? You just want a standard Voyager class figure or Leader class figure, whichever ones they are now, and that's Broadside. You're done. You're happy with a little aircraft carrier, because he'll never be an aircraft carrier. He'll just be in robot mode for most of his days. Or are you like, no, I want him big, I want him chunky, and I want it to go Titan size or Commander Plus with clip-on bits from the Autobot combiners. I do include Defensor and perhaps Computron in that calculation for Broadside. Although, would you want to spend 5-6 years making a Broadside with them releasing combiners where and when they want to? And then one last bit, we've got obviously Burden Hardest to Bear. You've got Broadside again. He's battling Devastator and Predaking, looking very much like on the same level as them. Like, where do we go with him? Do we have to have a compromise when it comes to Broadside. You can see him there. He's literally eye to eye with Devastator. So the same size in this episode. And again, like I said before, we shouldn't be using the original animation series as a good reference point because it's a bad reference point. But unfortunately, it's the only reference point when it comes to Broadside. In the US animation anyway, he's big. But as we can see from the Takara, I think he's only in like 3 episodes anyway. Same Predaking. Predaking's here with Devastator. So all 3 of these in this episode are considered the same size. Let's go back. The Takara ones is the same size as Springer. So, where do we go, guys? What do we do? Are we going big? Are we going small? Or just going the same as the other 2? Put your comments in the description below. I'll see you guys, girls, in the next one.